What's up, everyone? It's Devin and Pamela back for another podcast episode. And hello for 2025. We missed you guys very much. And today we have got a jam packed episode for you. Pam, how are you feeling about what we're going to discuss and what are we going to discuss today?
Well, hi there. Hi there. So, oh my God, what a year. So, at the point where we are recording this, it might not be the time when you're watching this is the same month, but just to let you know, at the point where we're recording this, there's like literally new things happening every week. And I need you to understand that, like, 10 years ago when I worked at Google, there was like one change once every 6 months, and the entire team of like 40 people meticulously prepared for that change to come and how to communicate it with the customers and to make sure that they were all happy and like that it was properly done. And like this time around, every week we just see something new in the Google Ads account or in Google Maps or whatever. Unfortunately, not working
Yeah.
or being like a surprise announcement, right? That's like hidden. Like I remember when you showed me the thing that we are about to discuss. I'm like, wait, what? I didn't even see that yet because it was so tiny, right? So it's people. The theme for 2025 is be agile. That's all I can say. Just be agile, be
Yep.
flexible. Yeah.
That is super true. That is super true. All right. So we've got a jam packed episode for you guys today. What we're going to do is we're going to discuss how our video action ads on Google Ads are kind of going away. They are floating away. So no more YouTube ads for you guys. Of course, we have a couple of workarounds. We're going to show you what to do. But if you're thinking about running a video action ad after April, you can't because it's going to be completely gone. We're also going to talk about how Google messed up with their review system. Pam has had a lot of experience in that. And Pam, you also wanted to say one more thing. What else did what am I missing over here? There's one more thing we're going to talk about.
Oh yeah, that's maybe that's something for last. We'll talk about like the most recent, at the point of recording, 1 day old news for Google removing yet another feature. Let's keep it till the end.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll save that juicy bit of information till the end of the video. But the main point of this podcast episode is specifically to talk about the changes that are happening, what you as an advertiser need to know, and if this is a good thing or a bad thing for you. Now, we're going to let you decide. You can tell us in the chat what you think. But to me, I feel like this is a big blow. A lot of advertisers have been using video action campaigns. And the reason why I think video action campaigns work is because they are so cost effective compared to your normal search ad campaigns. So, just to give you guys some background, I've got a personal injury lawyer that's one of my students right now in my course. For him to just get a click on any of his ads, if they were search ads, it's about $50, $85, sometimes $160. And that's per click. That's not per lead, y'all. That is just to get a single click on his ads. But with video action campaigns, we can get clicks for less than $1, sometimes as cheap as 53 cents. So, as you can see, there's a massive gap in performance. Now, what Google has decided to do in their infinite wisdom is they said, we're going to scrap video action campaigns. We're not going to run those anymore. And we're going to roll them into this thing called a demand gen campaign. And you can already see Pamela kind of scrunching her face over there. So, Pamela, you're the expert. Is this a good thing? Is demand gen a good thing? Or is demand gen not such a good thing if we want to do video action, if we want to end video action campaigns?
I don't know if my eyes can go beyond like 360 degrees, but it's just starting to get good. It's just starting to get good. Like it's it just goes to show how far off Google is from the revenue that small advertisers bring in and how much more important the revenue is that big advertisers bring in, right? And it seems to focus on those advertisers that bring in the big buck, right? That bring in the data and the machine learning so that Google can enhance its AI. I mean, Google also just announced a couple of days ago that they're going to lay off another couple thousands of people, right? Amongst like Meta, I think Meta announced like 4,000 people and so on. So they're going more and more towards AI. There are good and bad things about that. I'm more than happy to chat about that. But it's just it just shows what they care about the most. It is sad in my opinion because I think you could keep a lot of like small businesses very happy in a world where video is important and it's still increasing and it's going to increase year over year still. You might drive those small advertisers away to other platforms like TikTok, maybe some reach out to Instagram or whatever. But it's like we have this one client also where they're doing really well with these campaigns, right? Like they're I don't even dare to say how much they're getting back, but it's like they spend like what 700-800 bucks a month on like YouTube campaigns, and in the end they make up something between like 5 to 10K back, right? So it's really good, and we're looking like just scaling that right now and all of it, but like you're just in the progress of making something last and it's about to be destroyed. And so I have a little bit of an issue of all this short-sightedness,
Yep.
and also in a world where we all know that Google is making so much revenue, they literally have nothing to worry about, right? Even if they didn't increase revenue for like years, they'd be fine, right? So it's a little bit too much like stakeholder happiness, profit maximization for me beyond profit that's already been maximized, right? At an expense that they probably will only notice a few years down the road. And then a few years down the road, the people that are in the jobs then are going to get blamed for what's going wrong instead of the ones that are making choices right now, right? It's
Yeah.
almost like somebody made this really, really good comparison. It was a comedian, actually, Michael Yo, I think that's his name. And he said, look, our generation, I might be mistaking the name now, um, but our generation is responsible for all the issues that Gen Z, for example, is dealing with right now. Like we invented the phones, we invented
Pamela,
like
Pamela, I'm just gonna cut you off there because I don't know what's up with your mic, but it's like cutting a
okay,
lot. It's like just
all right,
vibing out a lot.
let's do it
So
to an old style
yeah.
without.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna mute you, and then while you get that figured out, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna continue on with what Pamela is basically saying. Hold on 1 second. Um,
I think we should be good now.
are you? Yeah,
Can you hear
100%. I
me?
can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes. So you were saying the comedian was saying?
So he was saying that we are basically responsible for all the issues that Gen Z is dealing with right now. We invented the phones, we invented the internet, right? That's what everybody's complaining about. And so I think it's this short versus long-term sightedness that a lot of people in corporate right now are not looking at, because all they get measured about is what's your performance this quarter? How much did you increase revenue this quarter? How many like improvements did you come up with? But nobody looks and measures that like 6, 12,
Yeah.
24 months down the road. So thank you for listening to this very long rant.
And to explain to you guys the dilemma that we're in right now, and when you had your video ad campaigns, when you had your video action campaigns, we had one campaign that we could run and we could measure the outcome, right? So I want you guys to think about it in terms of, imagine you had a radio ad. Well, you would play it on radio stations. If it didn't work, you could say, hey, we tried the radio ads out, they didn't work, and we can switch to a newspaper ad, or we can switch to a TV ad, right? What Google is trying to do, and why a lot of advertisers are very upset that this is going away, is they're trying to mix the good ad, which is your video action campaign. These are good ads. They're cost effective. They are easy to run. They are fantastic for retargeting. They are good if you're a small business and you just have $15 per day to spend. This is the ad that you want to run, right? I've seen in my own business, we get cost per leads as low as $7, $5 just by running these things. You can run them in the background. You can run them when you're broke. No problems whatsoever. But what they're doing is they're taking this beautiful ad, this beautiful jewel, and they're mixing it with a whole lot of ads that people don't want. The Gmail ads, the some of the display network ads that really don't get that much traction, some of the discovery ads as well. So what they're doing is they're taking the good, mixing it with the bad, and calling it a brand new product for you. And ultimately, what this is going to do is it's going to make it harder for you to individually measure if your video ad is working. And what it's also going to do is it's going to muddy the water in terms of your marketing budget, where you have an ad that sometimes works, but you don't know how to reduce a cost per lead because you're not dealing with one ad when you run a demand gen campaign. You're dealing with five in one. So you might have a great video ad, but they're just not showing it often. You would never know. Or you might have a piece of an asset in there that's performing really well, but you wouldn't know because all of the underperforming assets are dragging down its performance. And this is the problem with running a demand gen campaign. Pam, did I leave anything out?
You said it really well. The one thing that this just reminded me of as you were speaking is when we switched from search to Performance Max, or from smart shopping to Performance Max, to be accurate, right?
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, we're now what, 2 3 years into Performance Max, and people are struggling with it, and we are just going backwards, right? Because that's what Google started. Google started with like very little audience targeting, because technically it wasn't possible. They added more and more audiences, which was really nice, which gave us a lot of like insights, which really helped us. And now we're going backwards again by reducing that, where Google is taking back their data and saying, well, no, just leave the decision up to us, right?
Yeah.
And we'll make it for you. And it's, oh, dare I say, it's a very it's a very Americanized view, where it's saying, hey, let me make that decision for you because I don't believe you're an individual capable enough of thinking. Like, I see that a lot in the US when I'm there. It's, let me give you this example. I was in this yoga class, right? And I took like my bottle of water with me, as I always do, right? And I put it at a certain place next to my yoga mat because I know that's the place I'm most likely not going to hit it. And I've never hit a water bottle during yoga class. The
Yes.
teacher comes up to me, grabs my water bottle, and says, oh, we'll put that away so you don't hit it. And I was like, woman, first of all, I don't look 18, or at least I hope I don't look 18 or like a child. And secondly, I'm old enough to make my own decisions, right? But I feel like there's this preemptive assumption with AI coming that we don't need human beings to make decisions. But we're seeing more and more every day that AI, there's a good element to it. It supports us, but we need human beings to still think and make important decisions here, because the system isn't capable to deal with smaller amounts of data to optimize it properly, right? So it's it will be very interesting to see what the impact on Google's revenue is. But as far as I know, Google, they're going to make it look like, in a way, of course, that it increased the revenue, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I would just encourage everybody is make up your own mind, right? Like, maybe try out other campaign types, maybe run tests, but be aware that depending on when you watch this, it might have already changed, right? You're gonna have to run tests again, right?
Yeah.
You might have to start from scratch.
Yeah, definitely. And let me just say this as well. Like, in this is not us doom mongering. This is not like us saying, "Oh, we love this one type of campaign. We hate this campaign that's coming. We want to stick with this." We have tested demand gen campaigns before. I remember seeing demand gen in my campaign lineup, and I was like super excited because I was like, "Okay, cool. This is gonna be like." The Gmail ads rolled into the discovery ads. It looks like it actually could do something, and it looked like a low cost option to me. And when I ran demand gen for the first time, bear in mind my average cost per conversion was like maybe $7. I ran a demand gen campaign and I think I had like a $50 conversion. And what was really surprising to me was there were so many cheap ad types in there that I'd expect my cost per click to be around about 70 cents, 50 cents. Where I was looking at my cost per click, and my cost per click was actually trending closer to what a normal search campaign would give me. And just so that you guys know why this is bad, the average search campaign converts at about 3 to 6%, right? So if you're running a search campaign, although you're paying a lot of money, at least you know you're going to get 3 to 6 leads for every 100 clicks on your ad. Demand gen is not going to do that. It's not going to supply you with that many leads. And for it to cost as much, there's just no point. And I think this is Google's way of, they want to make like they're giving you another option. But if we're really honest, this is just a mini performance max. This is all this is. It's just, they're literally saying, do you want the big performance max or do you want the small performance max? And eventually we're going to have like an Apple lineup where you can have the performance max, the performance minimum, and the performance, I don't know, mini or whatever it is. Like you're just going to have three choices of campaigns to run. And it goes back to what Pam was saying about control. The best thing about digital marketing, the reason why I think myself and Pam got into digital marketing in the first place, was you get to control where the money goes. You get to control who sees your ads. You get to control what, if you want to spend cash on that demographic or if you want to spend cash on that campaign, all of that lovely control that you had, all of those options, right? Imagine walking into a candy store and now they're just like, do you want the green candy or do you want the red candy? No other candy, just these two. That's all they're giving you. Don't worry, it tastes like everything once you put it in your mouth. Well, what if I just wanted licorice? What if I just wanted bubble gum? Those are valid things for me to want, but that's been taken away from us.
Yeah, and it's funny because like control, relevance, and results is literally what Google was built on,
Yeah,
right? That's what it says, and that's also what it has you answer in the Google Ads certifications if you do them at one point, right? Like I have a feeling they're gonna change that at one point because there's not much control left.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, definitely. All right, so let's say you're an advertiser and let's say you know that this is coming. It's about 45 days out. By April, it should be here. What we want to do in this podcast is we don't only want to tell you why this is bad, but what we want to do is we want to give you a game plan so that you don't get caught off guard. And there are a couple of things that you can still do. My number one piece of advice to you, if you're watching this podcast episode or maybe you're listening in, is it's not gone yet. Run them now while you can still run them. You can still set up a video action campaign and you can still make it work for your business. And 45 days is more than enough. I'm also going to say this. A lot of you guys have been sleeping when we've been talking about retargeting. And retargeting is a very important thing. And these video action campaigns are also perfect for retargeting. So it's a great time just to set it up like a little retargeting campaign on the side. Now, there's a couple of things that you can do. Even when Google rolls this out and they tell you you can't get to it anymore, you can still set one up. Am I right, Pam?
Yes, but I just discovered something which is very sneaky. I have to share my screen here because
Let's do it.
this
Let's do
is
it.
so if you're listening to this, just go to YouTube, right? And just check it out there. It's gonna help you a lot. So I was just as always, I just try out things, right? So I'm in our practice account. I'm like, hey, just like let me see if we can set this up, right? And so here I just want to create a new like video action or conversion campaign, right? So I go the
Yep.
typical way, new campaign. In this case, I just choose without a goals guidance. You can also choose another option, right? I go to video. I see my options here, all normal here so far. I choose drive conversions and I don't have a conversion goal here. It would show up in your account if you had it set up.
Yep.
Click on continue, start new, and look what happens now.
Demand gen.
They automatically redirect you to set this up as demand
Oh
gen.
my
So you have to
God.
actively switch back.
Can just pause right here. Now, this is exactly what Pam was talking about, where the spoon feeding comes into place. If I'm a grown up and I see a whole bunch of options and I've picked my option, if you tell me, do you want the jelly beans or do you want the steak? And I say no, I feel like a little bit of jelly beans, so I'm going to have the jelly beans. And you're like, no, we want you to have the steak. This is exactly what we're talking about. Pam just made a choice, but they're telling her, no, 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 you don't want that. That's not what you want. You wanna demand gen. But we would have gone to demand gen if we wanted it. Right? Anyway, continue, Pam.
It's yeah,
Yeah.
this is insane. Okay,
Yeah.
well, at least they have Google Video Partners disabled. Let's see if at least here get the normal interface. Okay, all right. If I switch back, I get the normal interface.
Fantastic. All right.
So
Cool.
at least something.
Okay. So basically, what we want to do is let's talk a little bit about the stuff that you can do when it comes to video action campaigns. Maybe you've never ran this type of campaign, and maybe you're saying, yeah, but Devin, is this really good? Can I choose keywords? What type of options do I get with a video action campaign that I wouldn't necessarily get with a search campaign?
It's so I just shifted for anybody who sees it because the sun is rising where I'm at, so that my face more or less looks like the
Wow.
same.
Lovely.
So it's what so I think the big advantage with like the video conversion campaigns really was that you can let Google optimize for conversions, right? Somebody asked me that yesterday is where we actually started using other ad platforms, right? And they were like, why is it relevant if we just run a brand awareness campaign to switch to a conversion campaign, right? And maybe I'm already getting conversions in this case, right? Like if I'm getting conversions, why should I switch to something that's conversion optimized? Well, the thing is, when you just run a normal campaign that's not optimized for conversions, Google optimizes for getting you the most clicks at the lowest cost. So that means you could get anybody to your website. You could get a lot of people to your website that might not even be interested, that might not even be ready to pay, for whom the price point might not be the right one. So a conversion campaign really allows you to optimize to get the right leads, the right registrations, the right, I don't know, add to carts,
Yeah.
purchases at a much better rate than if you just didn't measure it.
But how does it know? How does it know that those people are more likely to convert than people who would just click? How would it know that?
With the help of conversion tracking. So you got to make sure you implement that on your website,
Yeah.
either with the Google Ads tag or Google Analytics, right? So there's both ways. I don't know if you want to go into depth for both of them. But yeah, anyway, before you do advertising, right? We're getting back to the basics now. You always want to make sure you set up your conversion tracking. I was just putting together yesterday a schedule for a new course that hopefully I'll be able to announce soon because it's super exciting. And first, before we get into the ad campaigns, we talk about the tracking, right? So that we make sure when you get started with those campaigns, you start measuring what you're spending, what you're getting back, where it's
Yeah.
coming from.
Yeah.
Like, it's great if you're getting conversions, but I want to know, hey, what's actually the age of people that are getting me the most conversions, right?
Yeah.
What are the locations like? Oftentimes with like location reports, for example, especially in the US, there's huge differences between like California and let's say Minnesota, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I want to make sure I control my budget. I want to make sure that it gets spent where it's most efficient because sometimes, simple example with like California, it could spend $70 in like a week on just that state without no conversion. But if I looked at, let's say, Minnesota or other states, I would get conversions for like $5. But what does Google do? It allocates most of the budget to a location that's not relevant to me. I'll give you another example. That's actually a physiotherapist. It might be interesting for all local businesses, where we were testing expanding the radius a little bit. And what we found with one campaign in particular is that it started spending 80% of the budget on the 15 to 20 mile radius, where actually that only brings the client less than 5% of revenue.
What?
Yeah.
My God.
So we were like, okay, I guess exclude. We gave it a try. It didn't work. So, and if you don't have control over that, if you lack audiences, if you lack device data, if you lack control over like how creatives show up, right? Like you can't make as good decisions for your business. And the problem is, and look, I used to be and what was it called? Associate account strategist, right? And our goal was to help as many businesses as possible utilize Google Ads effectively. Now, the problem is we only had so much time to look into their account and give them some tips that gave me a bonus in terms of performance. But a
Got
lot
it.
of these tips might not be relevant to what is most important for the business, because I didn't know the business's history, I didn't know the margins, I didn't know the cost of I don't know, doing business, the website stuff, right? We didn't look into all of that. And that's what's happening right now. The people that are making those decisions at Google do not have the time or the understanding oftentimes of how businesses really work. And
And by the way,
that's just what it is.
they're getting rid of more people. Like
Yes,
it's not like they're
yes,
adding more people so they can
yes.
understand your business better and serve you better. They're actually getting rid of more people. So you're going to have more automation, more AI, less humans in the
Yeah.
system that are actually giving feedback from clients as well.
And let me say this, Google hires really smart people. So every single person that works at Google is a really, really smart person, right? And most of these companies now, while they get rid of those people, the only people that they're hiring are machine learning engineers, right? Or like AI engineers and so on. So yeah, I'm a big voter for keeping the humanness somehow alive. Um, but with that being said, you might get a little bit riled up right now as we are, but it doesn't matter. Any emotions that we spend on this is absolutely wasted because we cannot change it, right?
Yeah.
We can only deal with it, and we can look at how can we make the best out of this, right? It just is what it is. Thank God it gives us enough content to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I always tell my students is that if Google did its job, I would be out of a job. Like nobody would need to buy my course. I would not sell any consulting packages. I would not do anything if Google did its job. So
Yeah.
the one thing you have to understand about Google Ads AI is if Google Ads AI was as good as they said it was, if it could just go out there and find the customers for you, there'd be no reason for Devon and Pam to exist in the Google Ads space because obviously the AI would be doing its job. But if we really look at it, it's like Pam says, okay, this is a bad thing that has happened now. Okay. Um, it is going to have a lot of negative effects on a lot of small business owners. So, Pam, if I came to you today and I said to you, hey, I know this campaign was going away. What could I do to kind of mitigate some of that? What would you advise a small business to do? What would be their little bullet points that they could do?
Adapt to the change as much as possible to start testing and running a demand gen campaign maybe already now, if you're watching this prior to the switch. um Try to read up as much as you can about demand gen campaigns. Obviously follow this podcast and subscribe and like it, because we'll talk a lot more about it and we'll share all the goodness with you. And try out all these other video campaigns. There's a lot of other video sub campaign types. So I can imagine that going forward, we might find a combination of running like what do we have? Video like views campaign, um, video views, yes, or an ad sequence campaign. And then you combine it with a demand gen campaign, and you use the demand gen campaign then to convert people, which almost like mirrors the funnel that Facebook has actually been doing, where on Facebook it's most popular to run a brand awareness campaign with a video and then retarget everybody who's watched the video. I can see that coming. So yeah.
Would you say if I was a small business owner and I said I'm only getting into Google Ads now, I've got my search campaign. Do you think that now would be a right time for them to do the video campaigns, or do you think they should wait till the demand gen releases and do it then, or do you think they should already like customize themselves to how it works, get used to looking at the metrics, not spending that much money, but just to get a feel for it?
As always, the sooner you get started, the better. And I hope that at least with that new demand gen campaign, they still keep the feature where you can actually create a video yourself in Google Ads, right? Because what a lot of people don't know, in order to do a video campaign, you do not have to have a video ready. You can create a video from scratch within the Google Ads interface, right? Just make sure your YouTube channel is connected with Google Ads. So I really hope they keep this feature. And yeah, just honestly get started with it as soon as possible. I think that right now the clock is ticking more than ever, and it'll help you at least get accustomed to some of the features that are coming.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So before we move from this topic, I just want to say this one last thing. These ads are the money printers, right? These ads, these little YouTube ads are the money printers. What we've noticed a lot in running these is your creative makes a difference, right? So if you have a good video where you are talking to the camera and you're getting somebody to engage, there's a couple of things that you can do. Number one is you need to have a good hook in the ad, right? So when you're talking to the ad, it's not enough to say, "Hi, my name is Devon. I would like to tell you more about." You have to stop them, because remember, with a video action ad, what's happening is somebody's already watching their favorite YouTuber on YouTube, and you're basically interrupting them with your ad. So they are reaching for that skip button as fast as possible. So sometimes it would be something like, "Hey, don't push that skip button. I just want to take 2 minutes of your time and tell you this." Something like that. Or you could say something like, "Did you know most business owners lose money because they don't have this one thing?" That would stop the scroll. So you want to hook someone in, and then after that you want to go to a very fast early call to action where you tell them, "If you click on the link below, you're going to get my masterclass. I'm going to teach you every single thing that you need to know." A big mistake that people make with video campaigns is they try and explain the entire offer and the entire thing in the whole ad. That's not what that's for. Your landing page does that.
Yeah.
Your copy on your landing page does that. The only job of an ad is to grab attention. So when demand gen comes, it's going to take away a couple of options. You can't just run that one asset and just test that one asset. And also, what might happen is it could actually use AI to kind of alter the asset where it's kind of like a 2 minute ad and then it tries to chop it into a 30-second ad. And trust me, it is no good. So, whenever you're setting up a demand gen campaign, even in future, try and keep as much control over your assets, because your assets are the money printing machines at the end of the day. Good assets will get good outcomes. If you let Google Ads AI take over the assets, you might have some bad outcomes. I actually have a very funny thing that I want to share with you guys before we go any further. And I just want to share my screen over here. Just give me a second over here. So we've been talking a lot about Google Ads AI, and I just want to share this one thing by this gentleman called Chris Brewer. And he said Google Ads AI failed competitor landing pages in site links, right? So I want to show you guys how crazy this is. This site link over here is not actually for his company, it's for another company. But what happened is Google's Ads AI actually put competitor domains into his ad that he was paying for.
That's wild.
That is absolutely wild, right? Which could mean, and is absolutely spot on with this, they've been spending ad dollars but unknowingly funneling traffic to
Mm.
competitors because they have competitor links embedded into their ads.
It's this is what I've been telling people for a long time. Like, turn off these automated assets as soon as you get into your Google Ads account. Like, do not keep automated assets on. There has been zero benefit to using them. Zero.
And let me show you the funniest part of that. Look who responded to the. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. I don't know how to see the
Click on the
original.
on the on the time of the post. So if you click on 18 hours, you see what it says 18 hours?
Got it.
Oh, you can't
Trying.
click on that? Well, you can
Nope.
go to
Let me click
Chris
on. I'm going to
profile,
click on
and
the
then you
original.
can,
There we go.
if you go to Chris profile, you can look up his post.
First comment. This was the first comment I saw. Hi, Chris. I've sent you a DM to follow up for details to share with the team. Thank you. The problem is, no matter what Jeannie Marvin does, this has already happened.
We're not
This is the
seeing it. Are you showing the comment?
okay. Give me 1 second. Can
Yeah.
you see it now?
We're still seeing the original post.
Okay, let me do this. I'm going to stop sharing and let me share again. Uh,
This is proof, guys,
Technology.
that we're doing this live, by the way.
Okay, so I see now what's happening. Okay, cool. So there we go. I'm going to share this. All right. So this is the post up here. You see that?
Yes.
Okay. And then when I scroll to the bottom, Jeannie Marvin, hi Chris, I've sent you a DM to follow up for details and share with the team. Thank you. But yeah, this has already happened. That's the problem.
It's like I mean, I can't use any swear words here, right? But it's as if somebody's like, "Go F," right? Like just go FY to shorten it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to other news. Google reviews have been, shall we say, imploding. Pam, tell us about what's happening on that side of the Google space.
Let me see if it's now back to normal. So a week before we were recording this, businesses started losing reviews on Google. And in some instances, up to like 25% from what we know from our clients. And we were like, what is happening? This just sounds strange. And at first I was like, well, most of them were like in the healthcare industry. So probably Google is just trying to like be a little bit more aggressive and like try to, remove potential fake reviews, which none of those were. All of those were genuine reviews
Yep.
from the system. And then what it turned out is that it's a bug in the display and all the reviews are there. And the only way to literally figure this out was counting all the reviews one by one to make sure it matched the number that was showing before.
What?
So it seems like there was literally all the machine learning available to mess this up, but it was no machine learning available to fix this, right? And it took Google, I think, 5 days to issue a public statement.
What scale are we talking about? How many businesses were affected? Are we talking about this
Millions.
is just Austria, or we're talking about
Millions,
this is
no, all over the
globally?
world. Millions, right? And
So
I think a lot of,
let's say I had 500 Google reviews. How many of them would show?
like, it could be that it was less than 400. It's like 350 or 375.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of business owners didn't even notice it because unless people that really have a review strategy and get these reviews frequently, it's not something you look at every week, right? I've
True.
noticed that for our own profile, like, because we haven't been doing a good job at that. We don't, we don't have that many reviews, but
I have three. I have three. Okay. I've been having three for the past 7 years. I have 3 Google reviews.
yeah, so if you had less than 100, then you probably didn't notice anything, right? But yeah, it can be safely assumed that it impacted easily millions of businesses. And of course, that in the beginning, like I know some businesses, run like competitions among their employees to get more reviews, right?
Yep.
And so then like there were like employees that were really like, hey, I worked so hard for this, where did they go? And it's a lot to do. And then suddenly it just disappears and you don't know what's happening. And I mean, for Google to take 5 days just shows how little they care about that feature, which I can imagine and to be true because it doesn't bring them any money, right? So why would they prioritize it?
Yeah.
But yeah, still reviews are important for any business. It's social proof, right? Like you really should have a strategy, especially if it's a local business, right? So yeah, it's sad. But
I get I'm very worried about Google right now
Mhm.
for a billion trillion dollar company, whatever they are,
Yes.
because We've had this talk. I had this talk with with my students. Like we sat together and got this community called the Feedback Circle, and we had a nice chat. And when we sat down and we had the chat, the conversation came up with, I told him that, oh, by the way, Google might be doing away with your exact match, your phrase match, and your broad match. In fact, they might just say, hey, you've got two options. You can either
Performance
go,
max match.
there we go. Oh, no, no, no. It's smart match. It's going to be called a smart match, right? That's what they're going to call it, a smart match, right? And I was explaining to them that, like, these things are coming down the pipeline. This is my forecast for 2025. And I told them that manual CPC might be disappearing. And the look on all of their faces was exactly the same. They had this look on his face like in, what is wrong with, like, in, they had this look on their face like in, like Google was against them, like Google is taking tools out of their hands. And I mean, these are basically Google's customers. They're my customers. They're people who rely on my guidance, my knowledge. But at the end of the day, if I was not there, these are Google's main customers. They're paying money into Google. And all the small business owners had this feeling like in, they're ripping us off. They're literally ripping us off. So I'm very scared for Google because they are starting to build a customer base that feels very antagonized by the changes
Mhm.
that they're making. Like, when last did Google Ads add a feature and not take away one
That's
or
true.
two
That's
or
true.
three?
Yeah, that's true.
When last did they just add a feature and say, hey guys, there's a brand new way to do
Yeah.
things. Run this against your old campaign types. And if this new thing works, then have at it. If not, we will take it away and we'll work on it some more until it's ready to bring to market. That hasn't happened yet. If they told us we're running these new demand gen campaigns, we're going to include video, and we're also going to keep the video action campaigns around, not a single person would have a problem with that, because we could check performance on both. We could go, this works, or this is actually working better. The next logical step would be, let's get rid of the video action campaigns. Let's all go over to demand gen. But they're not doing that. They're literally removing all of the best options and just leaving you with one option, their option that they choose for you.
Yeah, and I cannot imagine that it would be of any additional cost if like both campaign types were kept, right? And I just remembered that because I was like actively asking myself and trying to like use my own search bar here to find what Google was adding, and it was audio ads, right? But also with audio ads, it was very silent. Almost nobody knows that you can create audio ads within Google Ads, right? So it's even if they add something, it's hard to find and almost invisible, right? Or it's made in a way where if you're watching this on YouTube, you saw before the screen share, and it's like you have to think at every step because otherwise it switches back. It almost reminds me when I use like taxis in Dubai. Like I cannot just sit in the taxi and relax. I have to literally tell them where to go because the minute I don't pay attention, they take a longer route,
So
right?
they charge you more. So they can
Yes.
charge you more.
Yes. So maybe Google
Oh,
got inspired by them. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, maybe that's how they got inspired. But I think the culture over at Google has changed, and I think it doesn't bode well for the future. Look, guys, myself and Pamela are going to be very honest with you. We're not going to tell you Google is an amazing platform and everything always goes well and you're going to get amazing cost per clicks and so on and so forth. There are a lot of things that Google have been doing lately that we don't agree with. Of course, our job is still to find a way through, to develop strategies, to test ads, to come to you guys and share the source, share what's working right now in 2025. But I'm not going to lie if I don't say it's not getting easier. It's getting harder to use this platform. And for first time users that are on the platform as well, they're feeling it because it is very confused. Like if I sat down in front of you and I tried to explain to you what a demand gen actually is, how do I do that? Like, what is a demand gen? No, it shows on the display network, but then somebody's gonna say, but then isn't that performance max? Yeah, well, yes and no, but it also shows Gmail ads. But don't performance max sometimes show on Gmail as well? Yeah, no, but maybe Discovery feed is the difference, but then Performance Max also uses. Look, what are we talking about here anymore?
Yeah, and if you're like a normal business owner whose core business isn't marketing, it's really hard to understand that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right.
Mhm.
So we've got one more action item that we want to cover. But before we do that, we're just going to have a quick ad break. And then Pam is going to tell us what the secret topic is that she wants to talk about. All right. So we're going to go to the ad break and then we'll see you guys soon.
Now, 9 years ago, I used to work at Google. And 8 years ago, I founded my own ad agency, Ajala Digital. And since then, we've helped over 3,000 advertisers all over the world grow with Google Ads. No matter where they're based on this globe, they have one challenge in common. They are usually tired of having to figure it all out on their own with ads and not getting the return that they are looking for. If you're currently tired of your ads, if you're tired of figuring it out on your own, and you need help of a real specialist and expert, then feel free to reach out. Check the link in the description below.
All right. And we are back. Pamela, it's time for the secret topic that you've been promising us.
Oh, the secret topic. Let me share my screen because we got a good news article there. And so this just came out super recently, where we can see that you literally have to make sure that your business logo and name are accurate. Otherwise, Google gives itself permission to automatically select your business name and logo. So that means you could just randomly have any business name, right? Maybe it's going to be your competitor's name that's going to show up in the ad. We don't know. Yeah. So
Oh,
just
whoa, 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 whoa. Stop the stop the bus. Hold on. When you said this to me before we went on the show, you just mentioned it in passing, and I was like, yeah. Now that so you're telling me I'm Neptune Design, Google can decide that I'm not Neptune Design if I haven't.
it can decide that you are now a Jella Digital. Yes.
Once again, just the theme of this top podcast is just flowing very nicely this morning. Anyway, continue, Pam. Sorry.
Yeah, and so it's like what we can see here, and Google is very strict here. It says if no action is taken, Google will automatically select top performing business names, right? So it's almost saying if you little 5-year-old child don't follow, we're gonna put you in the corner, right? Um, and and yeah, I'm not too sure what to think of that, other than really turn off those automatically created assets. And the problem comes into effect where businesses have names that are longer than the limit of the characters that you have, because I think you have about 25 or 30 character limit for the business name, and that's a challenge, honestly, for about half of our clients, right? So, and with the business logo also, like a lot of times it can get disapproved if it has like a lot of writing in it or whatever, and you don't get a notification necessarily about that. Like I've never gotten a notification about a business logo being disapproved. I've gotten notifications about ads being disapproved, right?
Man. Oh my gosh. All right. So, how do I actually go about like making sure that Google doesn't do this to me in my business? Um, I think you go into your account settings. In your account settings, there's going to be something that says verified business name or something like that. You can update it over there. Make sure your numbers are also the actual numbers for your business. And when it comes to logos are a bit of a tough thing, but whenever you're setting up your search ad, there's always an option. You'll see you set up your search ad, and directly underneath the search ad, it'll say something like business name, and it'll be a little thing. It's not clearly visible, but there's a little thing there that says upload business logo. From now on, guys, that is a must. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not even like we used to just skip over it and get to the part where we run our ads. From now on, that is a must. You have to make sure that that is uploaded. Otherwise, who knows, you could be BMW dealership 150 when you're Audi dealership.
Hey, if the account is the same, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Um, It's like, yeah, just really make sure you have those assets on point. The problem just comes in for small businesses if like the registered name does not reflect the brand name, which can also be quite common, right? Where maybe one day you just registered your business, maybe under like Pamela Wagner, and I never changed it back, but my brand has always been Ajala Digital, right? Then I would have to keep showing the business name as Pamela Wagner, not Ajala Digital, right? Thankfully, I registered it as like Ajala Digital from the beginning, but I know there's quite a bunch of our clients as well that changed it in the run of their journey, where maybe the husband's name is still the business name, or the wife's name is the business name, right? We've seen it all, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think maybe it's a good push in the direction to create proper brand guidelines for your company, to adjust the brand name, to change that registration. And yeah, but it's yeah, just pay attention, turn off all those automatically created assets is all that I can say.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So, with all of this good news that we've given you guys on the podcast, we are going to say bye bye for now. There is going to be a next episode coming to you guys very soon. And if you guys want to submit any questions, you're more than welcome to do so. Also, if you're watching this replay and you're wondering if you should keep on going the direction you're going, or if you need to involve a consultant in your business, I highly recommend you get a consultant in your business that knows about Google Ads, even if it's not Pamela. I mean, we are two of the best people to do it, but whoever you work with, make sure that your business gets for these changes, because they are definitely on the horizon and they are definitely coming for your business, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to play you out with an ad, and we wait.
One last thing.
Last thing.
Like, subscribe, follow, hit all those buttons.
Please. And also, if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure that you rate it. It helps us so much in getting this information to more people, so that more people don't get messed around by Google. All right, guys, we will see you in the next one. Peace.
Now, since we're on the subject of ad setup and getting your ads set up properly, what I want to do is I want to offer you a chance to copy my personal ad settings. The ad settings that I'm using right now in my business to generate leads and sales. And you can do that with my Google Ads Setup Cheat Sheet. Now, included in the setup cheat sheet is over 22 settings that I'm using right now to generate new business in my business. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to include a little mini course. So if you're a Google Ads beginner and you just want to find out how to get your first 100 leads, or maybe you just want to learn the dashboard so you can feel a little bit more confident, that's in there as well. Now you can find all of this at the link in the description below, and let's get back to the show.